August 29, 1907. The sun was setting over the St. Lawrence River. It was 5:30 p.m. The whistle blew. The workday was over. But for 86 men still on the bridge, time had just run out. It didn't fall. It disintegrated. In just 15 seconds, 19,000 tons of steel vanished into the dark water. 75 workers died instantly. Some were crushed. Some drowned. Others were trapped alive in the twisted wreckage, waiting for a rescue that would never come. This was supposed to be the eighth wonder of the world, the longest cantilever bridge ever built. It was the dream of one man, Theodore Cooper, the most famous engineer in America. But in the pursuit of glory and profit, basic laws of physics were ignored. They tried to stretch steel beyond its limit. This disaster was so catastrophic, it birthed a ritual that every Canadian engineer still follows today. The Iron Ring. And the most terrifying part? It didn't just happen once. This bridge was cursed to fall twice. Welcome to Fatal Blueprints. Today, we dissect the Quebec Bridge, a lesson in hubris. At the turn of the 20th century, Quebec City was isolated. To cross the mighty St. Lawrence River in winter, you risked your life on ice bridges. Commerce was strangled. The city needed a bridge. Not just any bridge, but a railroad link to the world. But the Quebec Bridge Company had a problem. They had ambition, but they had no money. They were effectively broke before they even started. They needed a cheap bridge, and they needed a big name to sell it to investors. Enter Theodore Cooper. Based in New York, he was the rock star of civil engineering. He had built bridges across America. He was their savior. Cooper agreed to take the job, but on one condition: total control. His word would be law. To save money on building piers in the deep, icy water, Cooper made a fateful decision. He extended the main span from 1,600 feet to 1,800 feet. It was a masterstroke of ego. This would make it the longest cantilever span in the world, a monument to his genius. But to keep costs low, he stressed the steel to the absolute limit. He assumed the dead load, the weight of the bridge itself, would be manageable. He didn't recalculate the weight for the longer span. He trusted his intuition over the math. That was the seed of the disaster. Construction began. For years, the steel arms reached out over the river, defying gravity. It looked magnificent. But by the summer of 1907, things started to feel wrong. Norman McClure, the young site engineer, noticed something disturbing. The massive compression cords, the spine of the bridge, were bending. They were buckling under the weight. McClure was terrified. He wrote to Cooper in New York. "The steel is bending." Cooper's reply was dismissive. He claimed the beams were bent at the factory, not from stress. He refused to stop the work. He refused to visit the site. From his office 500 miles away, Theodore Cooper was blind to the monster he had created. The bridge was screaming, but no one was listening. August 27, 1907, 2 days before the end. The deflection in chord A9L had grown to 2 inches. This is called buckling. When you put too much weight on a column, it doesn't crush down. It snaps sideways. McClure realized the danger. He jumped on a train to New York to beg Cooper to halt construction. It was a 12-hour journey, but back at the bridge, the work didn't stop. They moved the heavy crane further out onto the suspended span. That extra weight was the final straw. The bridge's spine could no longer hold the lie. It happened fast. The compression cords buckled. The cantilever arm, carrying 86 men, folded like a house of cards. Theodore Cooper's masterpiece became a tomb of twisted steel. The world was shocked. But Canada was determined. They started over. A new design, much heavier, much stronger. September 11th, 1916. It was Redemption Day. The massive central span, weighing 5,000 tons, was being hoisted into place from the river below. Everything was calculated perfectly, except for one small casting in the lifting mechanism. A defect hidden inside the steel. Snap! The casting failed. The central span slipped. Before the eyes of thousands, the bridge fell again. Another 13 lives lost. The Quebec Bridge had claimed 88 souls in total. It seemed nature itself was rejecting the bridge. The silence returned to the St. Lawrence, but the questions were deafening. A royal commission was formed immediately. They didn't just want to know how it fell. They wanted to know who killed 75 men. All eyes turned to New York, to Theodore Cooper. But the great engineer was too sick to travel. The commission had to come to him. What they found in the paperwork was shocking. It wasn't a mystery. It was simple arithmetic. The bridge was actually 8 million pounds heavier than Cooper had calculated. He had underestimated the dead load. The bridge was doomed before the first rivet was even driven. It was collapsing under its own ego. Cooper tried to blame his assistant, Peter Slapka. He tried to blame the materials. He tried to blame the workers, but the commission didn't buy it. Their verdict was brutal. The disaster was caused by errors in judgment by Theodore Cooper. His reputation, built over a lifetime, vanished in 15 seconds. He died 2 years later, a broken man. But for the families of the 88 men lost in both collapses, Cooper's shame was no consolation. Their fathers and sons were gone. The engineering community knew they had to do something. They needed a permanent reminder that arrogance kills. Legend says the first iron rings were forged from the twisted steel of the Quebec Bridge itself. Today, in Canada, when an engineer graduates, they receive an iron ring. It is rough. It has sharp facets. It's not a trophy, it's a warning. The ritual, written by Rudyard Kipling, reminds them that their materials are unforgiving. When the ring drags against the paper, it vibrates. It tells the engineer, check your work. People's lives are in your hands. The Quebec Bridge still stands today. Completed in 1917, it remains the longest cantilever span in the world. A title bought with blood. Theodore Cooper wanted immortality. He got it. Not as a hero, but as a cautionary tale found in every engineering textbook. Technology changes. We have computers now. But human nature? Human nature never changes. Gravity doesn't negotiate. Physics doesn't care about your budget, your deadline, or your ego. The Quebec Bridge taught us that the moment we think we are masters of nature is the moment we are closest to collapse. This is Fatal Blueprints. If you believe in the truth behind the tragedy, subscribe and join our investigation. Next time, we travel to California to witness a dam failure that killed 400 people in the middle of the night. The St. Francis Dam. You don't want to miss it.